Hello everyone, welcome to week 6, and today we'll be attempting to create a table different from what we've learned in the class lesson. And so far in the class lesson, we have been able to explain how to create tables and how to style the tables using different table properties in CSS. And today we're going to look at a more complex table to help us to understand how to create complex table, or wherever if we have a situation where we need to create a complex table, so it will not be a challenge for us. Now, generally, tables are like spreadsheets where you can organize information neatly into rows and columns. So we're going to create tables using the HTML tags, the TDs and TH, and also the TR for rows. So we're going to be making use of all the table elements, the elements that are used to create the table. Now, on my document here, I have a template which I have created to save some time, but I'm going to explain how I came about this table. Now, the table element is what we use to initiate a table on our web page. So right here I have used the table element, and inside the table element I have headings using the th tag, the t-head tag, and inside the t-head tag I have the tr tag, which specifies a role for this table. Now, this is the simplest way of presenting a table. I haven't styled the table yet, so I still have it in this format, but we're going to do that. But what I have here is just a basic table that has a heading, and the table is a list of employees, a list of names of employees, their department and status in a company. So we're going to style this table, and also we're also going to recreate this table in a more complex way, so we can have more understanding of how to create complex tables. And also we're going to look at the call group and how to use the caption tags, and also how to upload other content in our table, like font awesome. Using the font awesome, we're going to impute icons in our tables. Now, tables, like I said, is like a spreadsheet. It's very good for organizing our content. If it requires to be, if your content is required to be in a table format, the table is a very good way of structuring your content properly. Now, first let's look at how to style this table. Now, from the class lesson, if you haven't seen the class lesson yet, please you have to refer back to the class lesson to have more understanding of how we came about this table elements we have here. But I'm still going to throw a little light like I did already. So the t-head holds the heading of this table. As you can see, it holds the name, department and status. So we have the th tag for these headings. So wherever you see the th tag, you just have in mind that it's a heading. So this is simple, but when we have a complex table, always have in mind that the th tag is for headings. Now, this is already in the t-head area, the t-head element, which makes us know that yes, whatever we have here is going to be a heading. But still, always have in mind that where you see the th tag, it's going to be a heading. So right on this table we have name, department and status as the heading, and on the body, which is the second row, we have the name. We have John Doe for the first column on the second row, and we have marketing under the departments column, and then we also have active. So what this table is trying to tell us is that John Doe is in the marketing department, and John Doe has been active in duty. So John Doe is currently active in this company. And we also have on the second row, we have Jane Smith. Jane Smith is in the finance department, and Jane Smith is not active currently in the finance department. So we have the status there as inactive. So we have this structured properly because we use the T arrow to specify a new row and the TD to specify the body contents of this table. So for each TD, we have a body content. So just like we have the TH, wherever you see a TH, you know it's going to be a heading, and where you see the TD, it's going to be a body content. Now, this is very important when we want to create a complex table. So always have this in mind: the TH for heading and TD for body content. But on this simple table, we have the whole body content in the T body elements. So we have the T head and the T body, which is the heading, and then the whole body contents. So just like we have the rest, we have below the first row, which is the heading, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. That's why we have the T arrow. So the T arrow specifies a row, and columns as the body contents. So we have 3 columns for the heading in the first row. So we have 3 extra columns for the body content below the heading. Now you can see we have the first row and its contents. We have the second row and its contents. And you can see how they complete the columns, the heading columns. It's still 3, just like the heading itself is 3. We also have another row that holds this body contents, and still 3, just like the heading. So that's why we have a complete table. Now let's style this table before we create a complex table, so we can see the borders and where the tables are separated. So to style table, that the table is the element I want to apply my first properties to. Now, the table itself does not have any border, so we have to specify the width, we have to specify the borders, but we're not going to do that on the table elements, but here we can specify the width. So first, let's apply the width property to this table, so we can give a particular span of or how much we want this table to be expanded on this web page. So we're going to specify the width.
Hello.
Okay, I can hear you.
Please, where from the media, this thing, the attribute screen,
Okay.
where from that one?
Okay. No, you do not have to worry about this for now. So I can take this out and it's still going to be an embedded style sheet. Yeah, so it's the shorts, it's just because I use the shortcut of my IDE, right? So it comes with the style. Now that is just an attribute that comes with an embedded style in this IDE. So you don't have to worry about that. And if I take it out, it still remains the same. All right, now the width here, I'm going to specify that I want the width of this table to be 60% of my screen. So 60% of the this screen of this web page is going to be for the table. And also, I want
sorry to
okay.
sorry to bother you again. What
No
does it mean
problem.
when we say that the table weight should be 60% and horizontally centered on the page? When they say horizontally centered on the page, like what does it?
Okay. You just like the word horizontal, it's meant to be, I don't know if you can follow my mouse, it's meant to be straight on the page and centered. So just like the word says, if you want to make sure your table is right in the middle, right, centered in the middle of this page, not, as you can see where I have this one now is at the top left of my page. So if you're saying you want it to be horizontally centered, means you want it to be displayed right in the middle of this page.
Okay.
So it could be centered here, but it must be like in the middle of the page.
Okay.
All right. Now, next we want to have for the height of this table. So I want the height of this table to be auto. So it's going to auto fit the height according to the content I have inside. And next I want to have the border collapse. And the border collapse would enable the table borders to be merged, but you're not going to see that yet until I create the style for the TD and the TH. All right, so first let's apply the styles to the TD and TH before I use the border collapse property. So for our TDs, I'm going to select the TD and TH for this style. First, I want them to have a border. So we can have border lines between the contents. And the border, I want it to be 2px wide. And I want it to be solid. And I also want the color to be red. So I close this, and if I refresh my page, you're going to see that the style which I have applied for the TD and TH, which is the border, is already displaying. So you see for each TD and for each TH, there is a border of 2px and solid and red. Now this is just for the TD and TH. Now you can see there are also spaces between the lines. Now this is where the border collapse comes in. So we are going to apply the border collapse to the table elements. And in the table elements, which we have already set the width to be 60% and the height of to auto according to fit in according to the contents. Now we want the borders of the TD and the TH to collapse. So we use the property called border collapse. And what do we want the border to be? We want it to be collapsed. So we select the value, collapse. And I save this, and if I refresh my page, now we have the borders collapsed. Now we have a proper table. So it's beginning to look well. Now we can see very well the demarcations between the contents. So we have under the name column, we have the names. Under the department columns, we have the departments. And also under the status, we have the status of the employees. If they are active, inactive, active, or inactive. Now, we have successfully applied styles to this table. Now next, we want to look at how to create a complex table, because this is where the challenge really comes in. So just like I explained before I start creating the second table, now what I have here is a div. If you recall, we looked at what div does on the web page. So you can use div as a container, but here I'm using it as a space. I'm using it to create a space between the next table. So that's why I insert the div right immediately after the first table. So on the next table, before the next table, I'm going to have a space of 50px. So that's why I use the inline style to create the space, the margin of 50px. And for top and bottom, we're going to have a space of 50px and nothing on the sides. So let's start creating the complex table to see the difference between this and the complex table. So for our complex table, we're also going to be creating this same table. We're going to be recreating this table, but with different columns, different type of columns. So
Please, can in the complex table, can you create something similar to the assignment 6 you were given, like something similar, something that I don't know if you've seen the
I
assignment 6.
understand. Yes, I understand what you're talking about, but do not worry. By the time I'm done, you'll be able to understand the assignment properly.
Okay.
So let's start by creating the table, and we use the table elements. So I'm just going to copy the same contents, but this time, like I explained, we are not going to be using the T head or T body. Since this is a complex table, the T head and T body would not fit into this table, and it's going to limit us to how creative we can be when creating this table. So for this complex table, we're going to be making use of just the rows and deciding where we want the heading to be or where the body should be. So just like the assignment okay.
It means when you are creating a complex table, there's no need for you to bring the T head tag and then T body and those stuff.
Yes, for flexibility, you can work without the T body and the T head. So we can recreate this same table without the T body and the T head. So it just depends on the type of table you're creating. But this is the original format of creating a table. Yes, but when you have a complex table, we can as well do without the T head and the T body and specify it inside the rows. So what you should focus on here now is the rows. So for the first row here, we have headings, but I want to recreate this without the same amount of columns. I want to merge some columns and some rows. So, but the first thing you should understand is on the first row, we use the T arrow. To create the first row, we use the T arrow tag, which is T arrow. And inside, sorry, let me write this properly. And inside the T arrow element is where we want to specify the headings or the body. So we can have a TH or a TD inside this row. So the amount of TH and TD we have inside this TR element will determine the amount of columns we are going to have on the page. So just like this one, where we have the first TR and we have 3 TH inside the TR tag, which means we are having 3 columns, 1, 2, 3, name, department, status. So if I add another TH or a TD to this list, we're going to have an extra column. So for each TH or TD, it represents a cell. So this is a cell, this is a cell, this is a cell. So what differentiates them is if it's a TH, the texts are usually bold, and if it's a TD, the texts are not bold. So it notifies you that this is the body content and this is a heading content. Now let's go back to the complex table. So for this complex table, I want to have the same content, but I will be rearranging this in a complex way. So first, I'm going to have two headings. So I use the TH for my heading, and the contents we're going to be having in this is employee. So this TH is going to be a heading for the employees. And next, I want to have another heading using the TH, and this will be for the departments. So if I save this and we look at this table, we refresh our page, we're going to see we have created two columns, right? But it's on just one row until I create another row before we're going to have another row below this. So for each row, the amount of contents is determined by the TH or TD we have inside the TR tag. All right. Now for the next row, I want to have another TR, and inside this TR, I'm going to have the name of the employee. Since it's going to be below the employee, so I want it to be I want the names to come below the employees. So first, I'm going to have a TD. Okay, let's do it like this. So I want to have more headings on this page. I want to have another heading, but this time I'll make sure that the heading does not come below this one. So this is going to be similar to what you have in your assignments. So I'm going to have another heading. I'm just going to have this for formality, so you'll be able to see what's so this cell, I'm creating an extra cell that I will be merging, but for now I just want you to see that it's going to be there first. So this is going to be a empty cell. So we have three columns or three cells now in the first row, right? Now let's create more headings. Now on the second row, I want to have another heading, and this is for marketing. And another heading for finance. Now, to make sure that this table isn't looking badly structured, we have to make sure that the cells below the first row is equivalent to the amount of cells we have. Like the cells we are going to have on this row below is equivalent to the amount of cells we have at the top. Because if I refresh this now, you're going to see there's an empty space. So let's fill up this space before we merge them, and then we see how the merging works. So another TH. Now this could be a TD. It doesn't really matter in this case because it's going to be empty. So let's use a TD for this and call this an empty cell. Now we have you see the difference between the TD and the TH, right? So the TD doesn't have a bold text. So now we have 3 columns and 2 rows. So I want to make this more complex. I want to merge the employee with the row below.
So it means the columns are the horizontal aspect of the table.
Yes, but this is a complex table, so we can decide where we want the columns to be. All right, so I'm going to put this, let me do this. I'm going to take out this marketing and let me shift this so you see that we can have it wherever we want. So I'm going to take out this last one and put it before the rest. So you can see the heading can be any cell, can be on any cell of the row. It's really, for a complex table, it doesn't really have a specific part where the heading should be. You can decide where the heading can be on your table. So I have shifted this and I made sure that the heading is on the other 2 cells and shifted the body back to this place. So I want to merge this employee. Let me do that using the row span. So because I want to merge this first cell with the cell below, so I'm merging 2 rows. This is a row. Second part is a row. So I want to merge this cell of this first row and this second cell of the second row. Now, how do I do this? I use the row span. Now, in the employee cell, I'm going to specify with the row span that I want the next row cell to be merged with this employee cell. So I am going to use the value 2. Now, because I am merging this cell to the next one, it means this empty cell has to be taken out because it's no longer going to exist. Do you understand? It's no longer going to exist, so I am going to take it out since I have merged it using the row span. As you can see here, when you apply a row span, you make sure that the cell you want to merge is usually the one below or the one next. If you're using a row, it's usually the cell below. So if I put the row span here, it will look for the next cell below to merge to. So it cannot merge upward, it merges downward. So now I'm going to refresh this. I save. And if I refresh this, you're going to see that I have successfully merged the cells, the first cell with the second cell below. So this row now is merged. Do you understand? Now I also want to merge the departments with the next empty cell which we have here. I want this empty cell to be merged with this department. Now to do that, I'm also going to do the same thing I did for the employee, but this time we're using the call. So I use call span and specify that I want 2 cells to be merged. So just like I explained, it usually looks for the next cell. If you say a row span and specify the amount of cell, it looks for the cells below. And if you say a call span, it looks for the cells next to it from the left. So now, because I'm merging the departments with this empty cell, I am going to take out this cell that is on the same row. So you understand why I'm taking it out? This cell is the empty cell. So I just have to take it out because it's going to merge into this one. So now if I save this you can see that it has successfully merged the empty cell. Now it's now a one cell block of its own. So always take note that when you're merging cell, you want to always make sure that the corresponding cell is not going to be a problem. So you have to take it out. So I created the 3 columns and I created the 3 columns for the 2 rows we have. And because I merged the first column with the column below, I took out the column below first before merging. And I used the row span to merge the cells together. So that's what we have here. That's why you can't find the column anymore here. And for the marketing and finance, they are still there, but this time we have merged the row above. We have merged the 2 columns above into one. So I don't know if you understand what I just did. Now you might not get it the first time, but once you practice this more often, you're also going to see that it's not as complex as it is. Now we can keep on going and add more rows to this table. So let's add another row. And in this row, I want to have the body contents. Since I have already merged these ones, I want to have, now the row still remains the same. Like as you can see here, I have the first row. It holds the employee and the departments. And the second row holds marketing and finance. So you see, I still have my rows. But because I have merged the employee to have a row with a row span of 2, so it's now taking the space before the marketing and finance. And same thing too for the departments. Now let's create another row. And in this row, we are going to have the body for the employee, and the first name here should be John Doe. So this will be below the employee, and we also want to have a status for this department, if this person is active in this department. So John Doe, that's this marketing department, which will be the next cell. So I want to say John Doe using the TD tag. John Doe is active. So I'm recreating this table, but I'm no longer using the status. So the status heading. So now John Doe is going to be active. It's going to make sense when I save this. And then also for the third cell, I want to say John Doe is not active in finance because he's only active here in marketing. So for finance, he's inactive. So I'm going to have another TD and say John Doe is inactive. So I save this, I refresh my page, and I have the body contents that are meant to be under the heading. So you can see I still have my headings at the top, but just in a different way. So I have 3 rows. I have the first rows, but the first row now has been merged with the cell below using the row span, and I still have my departments for the second column, which is merged with the empty cell that was meant to be here. So we still have 3 columns, but the first one has been merged with a row, and also the first 2 columns has also been merged as well. So let's add another row so it will make more sense to us. So using the tr tag, I want to say the next employee now is Jane. In this row, I want to have the td for Jane. Jane Smith. And also, I want to have another cell because Jane Smith here is inactive for finance. So for marketing, Jane Smith should be active. So I'm going to say that Jane Smith is active. Now, because I'm going to put this first before I merge this. So Jane Smith is active. And for finance, Jane Smith is inactive. Now, if I refresh my page, you're going to see that it falls within the name of the departments, which is marketing and finance. And Jane Smith is inactive for finance, and Jane Smith is active in marketing department. Well, now let's do something more creative. We both have this same active. It's been active for these two. This department has active for Jane Smith and also active for John Doe. So we can as well merge these two cells to make sure that we don't have maybe too many contents. So we just know Jane Smith and John Doe is active for marketing department. So to do that, just like I said, when you merge a cell, it usually starts from, if you're merging a row, it's merged with the next row. If you're merging a column, it's merged with the next column. So I want to merge this active cell with the cell below. So I have to make sure that it's this cell above. I am going to specify that I am merging the row. So I use the row span again, and I specify I want 2 cells. So since I am merging these 2, I have to take out this one, so it doesn't give us a complex table. Now, if I save this now as it is, you're going to see it doesn't make any sense. That's because I still have the cell I am supposed to merge it with. So I have to take out the active, which is the cell in the middle, so it can successfully merge together. Now you can see that Jane Doe and Jane Smith are both active in the marketing department and still inactive in the finance department. So you see how complex and easy at the same time you can create or design a table. Now we can still have more rows, but there isn't much time. But this is just a simple way for you to see how you can merge the cells and how the system which this is merging follows. So let's look at other topics. Let's create a table where we are going to use core group to style the table and also upload images using Font Awesome or icons using Font Awesome. So I'm going to have another space where do I have? Okay, so I'm going to copy this, which I use for creating a space between the tables, and save. And now let's have the complex table. Let's have the simple table where we're going to illustrate how to upload icons. Now for this table, I want to have something simple.
Please, can I ask a question?
Yeah, please feel free.
Assuming the style, the one you have put in a div, assuming you didn't put in a div, and then you just wrote style is equal to margin 15 ps. Without the
Oh,
div, what would have happened?
so this style is an attribute, and an attribute has to be in an element. So an attribute gives a an instruction to an element, right? It's like
Okay, the style is an attribute. Okay.
yes. So you can't have it outside an element. So it has to be in a tag, in an element tag. But it makes sense in a div because a div is more like a container. So it's an empty container which you can use to for different purpose. Now I would just copy the first table, or I just use the first table since we don't have much time left. So I'm going to impute font awesome icons in this table. But first, I want to show you how we can include, let's use caption for this table. So the caption is like a heading for our table. Now in the caption, I'm going to name this table employee information. And below the caption is where I'm going to have my call group. And inside the call group elements, we use the call tag and decide the span or the style we want to apply to the particular column we are selecting. So this is going to span for one of the column. So I'm doing this for the first table we created, so we can see, and we can make the table look more stylish. Now I want it to be 1, so the first column is going to have this style I want to apply. So I'm also using, just like you asked, here I'm using the style inside the whole elements, so I cannot apply this style outside. So it has to be with a particular element. Now for the style here I'll be using is just a background color. And I want the background color to be yellow. And I can repeat this as well to fall for the second column, and I will change this to gray. So let's see how this will display on the web page. Now you can see that the first column has the color of yellow, background color of yellow, which I specified because I used the attribute span attributes here to specify that I want it on the first column, and then it automatically, when we use another call, it automatically selects the second column. So if I say 2, it's going to take more than 1 column, but I used 1, so we can see how we can apply 2 different styles to different columns. So if I want the yellow to be applied to all the pages, all the columns, I can decide to use 3 span here, but that is not what I am trying to do here. So this is for the call group, and next we want to look at how we can upload icons in this table. So how do we do this? We go to Font Awesome. So there are different ways we can add Font Awesome to our web page. Now I want to show you a quicker and more recommended way. It's going to help make your page load faster, but it's still not the only way. You can as well use the same system that was taught in the class lesson, but this is just a quick one for this session. So I searched here Font Awesome on Google, and I want to use Font Awesome libraries. So I go to CDN.js, and here I am going to look for Font Awesome libraries. So I'll open this in a new tab, and I also open Font Awesome. So I'm looking at the web page, and I know the web page I am going to. So when you go to the Font Awesome CDN.js library, the website, and you come here to select the version. So for this, I want version 600. And the first link you see here, you come to this part and copy the link tag. So this is a CDN for Font Awesome. So I'm going to put this in my head area as a link, just like you would have linked the Font Awesome file if we had downloaded the resources directly from the website. So I don't have to type the link myself since I have copied it from here. So I just come to the head area and paste the link I have copied. So this means I can use Font Awesome icons without downloading the resources. It's just going to fetch from the net. So you must have internet to do this as well. Now, after copying the link, I go back to Font Awesome. This is the Font Awesome website. Then I go to icons and search for the icon I want. Now, I want to input icons in these tables we have created. So first, I want a user icon. So I search for user, and what's from the icons that will be provided, I'm going to be selecting the icon I want to use. Now, mostly you find the Pro, but what I'm going to pick here is the free version. So I'm going to click on this one. This is free, and it's going to display the code that you need. So you do ignore the rest of these options here. So you're looking for HTML, and you just click on the space, and the link is copied, and you come to where you want it, where you want the icon to be displayed. So I want it to be displayed next to the names of the employees. So I just come in here and I paste it inside. So you can paste it to depending on just where you want it to be displayed, right? So this is just as simple as it is. So I'm going to save this, and then I also want for this marketing, I want something like a chart. So I go back to the search and I look for charts. So long you know what you're looking for, you just think of the keyword and you search for it in the space there. So I want a chart, and this is not the kind of chart I want. So let me see if I can search for so I want something like a chart line. Okay, now this is what I want, but I have to look for the free version. Fortunately, the free version isn't here. So okay, I am going to work with what I have. Let me see if this will work. Alright, so I'll work with what I'm given just for this. Right, so let me take this and I come to this part, I copy, and I paste it before the marketing. And next I want an icon for active, so let's look for something, an icon for active. So I want something like circle that has a check, so I say check circle. Okay, so I have this here free. I come here, click on the space, it's copied, and I paste it inside. Now let's look at how this displays on the web page. So I go back to the incoming, let's take out this flexing option. Okay. All right, now I refresh my page and I have the icons displaying. Now I don't have the Mac chat yet. Maybe there's a problem with the code I've copied, so I'm going to try typing it out. Going to be chat line. So let's see if this is available. All right, so I have a chat line here. So it just depends on what you want. So you can see it makes a little sense now to see icons being displayed. Now I could do without the text. For example, I can say I don't want active to be displayed, so I'm going to take out active and leave just only the icon to be displayed. And as well, we can also style the fonts or some icons as well. So let's attempt styling one of the icon. Now I want to style, as you can see here, they are in classes, right? So remember, we can style classes. So I want to style the status. So I'm going to copy the class. And to call the class, we use the full stop and the class itself. So I just paste the class. Now let me try fixing this. So I'm going to set the color to be green. Save. If all goes well. Okay, so I have a problem with the class, so I'm going to use just the fast circle and it's fixed. So in this class, what I just did here is that there are two classes in this element that I copied from Fort Onson. So the fast circle check is the icon itself. So this other class determines the type of icon, if it's a solid one or maybe the type that has a see-through. So this class is the design, or the class that holds the design for that. Now, but the next part, the next class, the other class we have here is the icon itself. So that's the one I picked, and I applied the color property of green to it. So it makes a lot of sense now to see that without the active text, you can tell that John Doe is active. Now there are more styles we can apply to this table, but this is basically the way we apply styles and design our complex tables. So do you have any questions so far? Are there any questions? Okay, so there are no questions. We can Always reach out. You can always reach out to me on the WhatsApp group if you have any challenges. All right. I wish you a happy weekend and success in your assignments.
Thank you.
All right, bye.